Nuremberg, 2025. This film takes you right to that point in 1946, soon after the Second World War had come to its conclusion, when Britain, France, the United States, and Russia were deciding what to do to prevent anything like this happening again. So it gives a perspective of how it would feel right there, where they were like talking about the First World War, how Germany, um, after that previous Great War, as it was known, was a broken nation, and within 2 decades they had recovered enough to almost conquer the rest of the world. So it was, pretty shocking to think about it in those terms. I've heard of that before, but, many years ago, and it really is a shocking thought. Um, but it isn't the actual truth, because we hopefully know now that the um, the totalitarian tendencies exist across humanity. It isn't simply part of the German psyche, but that was how a lot of people at that time were considering it. They were thinking, "Oh, this is a German problem." I remember in the 70s, um, people, people of a particular generation, those who lived through the war, they were often very wary of the Germans. And I mean, there's like one clear thing in 1979, the Faulty Towers comedy sketch, that shows the sort of attitude that existed back then, and I hope doesn't exist so much now. But right after the Second World War, um, when the whole horror of the war was being unveiled and broadcast to the world, the information about um, you know, it was the 27th of January 1945 when the first concentration camp was liberated, and the first real horror of what was happening in the Holocaust became clear. And then, of course, there were so many other concentration camps. There was so much uh, destruction, the 6 million Jews who were dead, the many other marginalized groups, disabled people, trade unionists. There's no mention of LGBTQIA plus people, but um, gay people and trans people and the whole of that community were marginalized and targeted as well. Uh, there's um, 6th of May 1933, that's a key date when uh, Nazis destroyed research that was being done. And there's, I won't go too much into that, as it's um, it'll be a tangent, but just the horror of the whole camps and all of the people who were killed. I mean, there's actual, um, a video, or a film that, was played in the court that shows the camps, and there's a warning at the start of that, by the people in the court saying, "Nothing like this footage has ever been shown to, um, the public before." And it is pretty awful to view it because just, I mean, there's gonna be trigger warnings in this, content warnings, because it is just absolutely devastating, the sort of, stuff, bodies piled up, all the clothes, all the, just, mass murder, and having, an efficient machine, to do it in the form of these concentration camps, um, and to prevent something like that happening again would take a lot of thought, and, they decided that the, I mean, some of the people were, like, saying, "We want to just execute like the, Nazis they'd caught without a trial." But thankfully, that was, ignored. That was denied. That wasn't gonna happen. Justice had to prevail. So, I mean, it is really frightening to think, if they'd summarily executed, uh, Goering and the other people who surrendered, and they're just like extra, uh, if the states, the 4 main, allied powers had just, started on judicial extrajudicial killings, that would have been really, um, frightening. State-sponsored killing has no, um, place in justice, really. I mean, justice has to be seen to done. That means, um, a trial and a conviction, a tribunal in this case. Um, and yet there wasn't a basis for international law. Um, so how does one country tell another how to conduct itself? That's one of the questions that comes up. Um, and yet genocide is absolutely unconscionable. Um, so how do we prevent such devastating, horrific behaviour? How do we deter it from reoccurring? That was the question that was asked. Um, so establishing new international law is what this was all about. And I remember covering this in, history lessons um, when I was in school, and yet this is, much more immersive. I actually feel like I'm going along with them for this ride in that actual situation, and that's the powerful thing about films. Um, and one of the main protagonists is, Dr. Kelly. He's a mental health doctor, and as is described, in this film, his only job is to keep them alive. And of course, content warning again, uh, there will be, I mean, they took great measures to stop, the prisoners they'd caught from taking their own lives. I mean, taking away belts and, all the measures of making the cells, um, so that, it would be as hard as possible for anyone to um, kill themselves. So um, now, Dr. Kelly's played by Rami Malek, and he starred in Papillon 2017 and Bohemian Rhapsody 2018. There's Michael Shannon. I remember him very well. First time I saw him was in Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Seen him, he's an absolutely amazing actor. I've seen him quite a few films since. Um, and there's the um, the strategy by the um, Dr. Kelly is to try and win over the trust of Goering to sort of Hermann Goering um, doesn't want to. He's very arrogant. He doesn't want to incriminate himself, obviously, and he's quite sure of himself that he will avoid um, the fate that the Americans, the Brits, the French, and the Russians are hoping for, which is to hang him. And there's going to be this trial, all the evidence presented, a tribunal, and then uh, the state plans to hang them. So um, it's going to be. I mean, it's like someone says, it's the eyes of the world are on Nuremberg, on this particular panopticon style prison where they're all held and where the trial will result, hopefully, as far as the Allies are concerned, in uh, the conviction and hanging of the prisoners. And what happens after that? That's the big question. I mean, it's very much it's a game of trust. It's a game of cat and mouse in some respects. Um, it's it's fascinating. It's horrific. It's really immersive. I felt very, I I was gripped by it, and it is a long film, around 2.5 hours. My friend said afterwards she didn't feel it was 2.5 hours. I think I did right at the end, but it was captivating. I thought it was a great film. It was really um, very worthwhile watching, and I hope lots of people watch it because there's so much relevance to the geopolitical world we have now. Um, Now I'm going to score this 9 out of 10. I I will, yeah, I think that's it. I'd love to know what you think if you've seen this film. Please like if you like this review. Uh, Thanks if you subscribe. Please hit the notification button. Please do leave comments if you've got any thoughts. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.